Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Weekend Big Show, powered by Law Dog Sports. I am Chuck Rams, the Law Dog, here with you on a beautiful Oklahoma Friday morning, back in the 405 for the last several weeks after making the transition from the 580 in Western Oklahoma, now back in the metro area, and joined, as always, by my good buddy, good friend, and ruler of the airways, Mr. Jeremy Schroeder, here to talk with you on the Weekend Big Show. And Jeremy, we're going to run a poll here on the program. Which would you prefer for broadcast time, 9 a.m. Central or 11 a.m. Central? We've already got one vote from superfan Dan Narva. He's more inclined to view when we go at 9. So, but you know, part of this is, I'll say this, part of the reasoning and changing is two things: your schedule and kind of your ability to join us, and then also just seeing if we have a fan base, which we have a decent fan base, that would maybe prefer something later in the morning. I don't know, but we'll test it out.
Either's fine for me. Let them decide.
Yeah. Well, you didn't work last night. A lot of times you have to work late the night before we do a show, but you did have a special night for your young daughter last night.
Yeah, we did. She graduated from high school last night. It's over.
Yeah. Last one out.
Wow. Last one out.
Now you and the lovely bride get to, of course, I'm sure your kids are all still around some, and you know, kids have different, you know, paths, but you're got the daunting task of figuring out what to do, empty nest.
Well, it's not empty. She's going to OU and has no intention of moving out, which is fine with me. She can stay as long as she wants.
Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, you know, and I noticed this back in 1991. I went on a mission trip to Saltillo, Mexico, with the United Methodist Student Foundation at OCU, and we stayed with families who were members of the Methodist Church there in Saltillo, and daughters, a son who was engaged and preparing to get married. They all lived at home, and I just thought, you know, I left home at 17. So, you know, it just, I think the narrative has changed, obviously, with economic situations in the world. You hear stories, but, you know, family's family. And if they've already been there, you know, and contributing, that's the big part for me. If one of my sons came to me and said, Dad, you know, can I come live with you guys for a while, whatever, great. You're going to pitch in. You're not going to be, you know, a bed and breakfast guest.
You don't have the continental breakfast at the Ramsey household.
You will pitch in. So, hey, later on, we'll kind of talk a little bit of baseball, but your Cubs, man, I think we did you guys a disservice by not having a show last Friday, in which we had intended on having Newt Huntley on from Sooner State Baseball Report, because he between him and you, it might have been able to strike the juju off of this 5-game losing streak by the Cubs.
I told you, man, the June swoon is inevitable, and it came early.
And early, 2-8 in their last 10, and a 5-game losing streak, swept by the Brewers for the first time in forever. But they're kind of a walking wounded. I mean, they're a mash unit in a way. I mean, tons of
162 game schedule, man. That there's going to be good runs. There's going to be bad runs. You just got to mitigate the bad. I didn't think they were going to be that good at the beginning of the year when they won 18 of 20. I was shocked.
Yeah,
with the way that roster has been on and off the IL.
Sure,
they'll turn it around.
29
will start catching the ball again.
Yeah, 29 and 21. The Crow kid, apparently he facing some repercussion for cussing out the White Sox fan.
He's having some issues, you know, issues catching the baseball in center field, some temperament issues. It's frustration. It gets the best of him.
Well, we are live on Facebook, Twitter, X, and YouTube, so be sure and give us a comment here. We've got the poll up. Also, be sure and vote on that. And, you know, it's funny as we talk about baseball a little bit, and we'll go back into it. One point I was going to make is they're 29 and 21 on the season. 18-8 at home. They start a series today against Houston, who is just awful on the road, 8-17. So maybe it's time. Baseball is a roller coaster of highs and lows and trends and upswings and things like that. Much like the NBA playoffs, like that segue there.
Yeah, that was great.
So you and I did an episode Saturday just so that we could definitely say that we previewed the Western Conference Finals for our sake. Me predominantly being a Spurs fan and you being a massive Thunder fan, wanted to kind of get that out there and be able to roll with that. Looking at 2 games in, I'll just say this, that this is going to be, in essence, a de facto NBA championship. A lot of people believe. I kind of believe that too.
I said as much last week.
But an article by Dan Walken in Yahoo Sports has mentioned, and I think that if you look at the injury report, this series, if the Knicks can make short work of the Cavs, if the Cavs can't manage to pull together, 2 wins at home, this series could be over in 5.
It's going to be over in 4.
It could be, yeah. I was trying to give a little bit of grace to Donovan Mitchell for the gentleman's sweep, but the colossal meltdown on Tuesday, and then last night just kind of fend them off and show them that we're way better. The Thunder and Spurs, in essence, will go 6 or 7. You have to believe that.
You do. I mean, tonight, San Antonio's pointing a hook at home favorites.
And it's a physical series too.
It's a grinder, and whichever team wins the injury report in this series is probably going to win the series.
And it's not, in essence, the fact that the Knicks could match up, person to person, personnel to personnel. It's just that if they finish out that series pretty quick, that is a lot of rest and recovery. And I think that's that's what James Dolan has had planned all along.
Yeah, and Donovan Mitchell is great, but no matter how great he is, there's that traffic cone on defense that all of a sudden can't play offense that is going to keep dragging him down.
And before we get into too much about the Western Conference Finals, I do want to mention that, Jalen Brunson, what a playoffs that guy's having. And then, the question on the article about the Knicks was, will they lose again? And they could lose game 3. That could happen.
I don't think they're going to lose again in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
I don't care how banged up San Antonio or Oklahoma City are. They're going to get a game or 2 in the finals.
Oh, sure.
Depending on which one comes out. Now, San Antonio, if they end up coming out of this with pretty bad injuries to 2 of their primary ball handlers, they're going to be in trouble in the finals.
Yeah.
Dylan Harper, the way it is. Dylan Harper,
was his injury listed as hip?
As an oblique.
Oblique, okay.
Oblique, and then De'Aaron Fox has a high ankle sprain, which we know his game is predicated on a lot of quickness, a lot of lateral movement. That high ankle sprain is.
Does he not look chunkier than he did in his days in Sacramento?
Did you say chunkier?
Yeah, he looks thicker. Like
thicker.
He used to look like a total beanpole.
Well, maybe the purple and silver is more slimming than the black and silver. I don't know.
You never know.
No, we never really watched him when he was in Sacramento because Kings games aren't on TV.
I'm sure he's put on a lot of muscle since his Kentucky days, but
I'm sure he has.
Knicks win 109-93 last night. Big performance. And this is just an exit question on this series, and I don't want to expand too much on it, but Josh Hart, 26 points, 7 assists. There were times of the game, Jeremy, that I was watching that I just felt like Jalen Brunson has full control over what goes on. I know he can be targeted on the defensive side because of his size, but when he's able to navigate the defense like he did, 14 assists last night.
He's got a lot of Chris Paul in him, doesn't he?
He's got some Chris Paul in him, and I think he's just a gamer, and I love seeing Mavericks fans have to watch him, succeed in the playoffs. But just and really they didn't have quite the output in game 2 from a lot of their role players that they did in game 1. And what happened to your cousin Dennis? My gosh, he's just a shell of the player he used to be. I know he's gotten a little bit older, but man,
I know.
It's 4 points and 4 rebounds last night. Cavs led by Donovan Mitchell, 26 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. That he would be considered your primary scorer, but he's got to get more assists than 1. I mean, he's the point guard.
Well, cousin Dennis was at his peak in Oklahoma City. That was 5 years ago, Chuck.
Didn't he have, I mean, he was pretty good with the Lakers, wasn't he? Didn't he have a big season with the Lakers?
He was, and I'm not speaking for him, but just watching him on the Lakers, you could tell he hated playing with LeBron.
Well, sure. I mean, but you know what? I mean, and we'll get to it later. We do need to talk some Spurs, Thunder, but I kind of enjoy some of the frank honesty that I've heard from LeBron James this week.
Oh my God, who cares?
Well, it's just you're going to hear it. I mean, they're going to broadcast it, but
yeah, they had a great game plan against Oklahoma City. Yes, they don't have the athletes that Oklahoma City has. They don't have the athletes Oklahoma City has if Luka plays.
Yeah. Well, and that being said, there was another one. What was the other one he had that cracked me up? It was something AF. Dang it. What was it? I don't know. I'll figure it out later, but we'll get into our preview of the Western Conference Finals. Spurs versus Thunder at the Frost Bank Center tonight. Spurs are a 1.5 favorite, as Jeremy mentioned. Jeremy, 33 consecutive post games, the Thunder had been favored before tonight. Looking at this season, 5 times, including tonight, they have not been favored.
Yeah.
You know how many teams there are that they haven't been favored against?
Let's see. They were probably not favored against the Spurs a couple of times.
Okay.
I'm not sure. 82 game schedule. It's hard to keep track of betting lines.
That's why I do the legwork. So 1.5 point dog tonight. In February 4th, 9.5 point dog. Who do you think it was against?
San Antonio the night they rested everybody.
That's right. The OKC Blue, in essence, traveled to San Antonio.
Broke Isaiah Roby out of mothballs.
116 to 106. Hi, Dan Narva. Thanks for jumping in, and we'll see you when you get back. December 25th, Christmas Day, 9.5 point dog.
Was that didn't they win on Christmas Day? I don't even remember.
I show a 117 to 102 loss.
Okay. Was that against San Antonio?
That was against San Antonio.
Okay.
December 23rd, 6.5 point dog.
December 23rd, 6.5 point dog. San Antonio.
130 to 110. And December 13th, they were this has to be one of the largest spreads against the Thunder in a long time. 11.5 point dog on December 13th, 2025. They lost 119 to 111.
San Antonio.
All right. So 5 times this season, they have not been favored, and all 5 times have been against San Antonio. Tell me what you would consider the reason why those spreads were so high. 9.5, 9.5, 6.5, 11.5. And then tonight in a playoff game, and I know injury reports have a lot to do with spreads, but I mean, this is a Western Conference Finals, and the Spurs are only 1.5 point favorites. What is it that you see? Is it just that they realize it's playoff basketball? Is it? Well, give me your take on this 1.5 point spread.
Okay, so Fox up in the air. Even if he does play, he'll be limited because of that high ankle sprain. What's Dylan Harper? Who knows? That oblique is going to limit him. We saw Austin Reeves miss 3 weeks with an oblique.
Mm-hmm.
if they're allowed to play physical, it's really going to muck up the game, which
Mhm.
is what we saw night before last.
Yeah.
And it's a playoff game. It's going to be nip tuck. You know, I can't explain. I can't even remember what that 11.5 point, what roster Oklahoma City rolled out there. I know AJ Mitchell didn't play.
Wouldn't that have been around the time of the in-season tournament?
Yes, and I think Chet may have been unavailable that night.
Which one
And I
night
know
team
J-Dub wasn't available.
did that game go into overtime?
I can't remember.
I thought it did.
We'll
I
talk
remember
about it.
listening to it on the way home from a
That was
West
before
basketball.
Christmas. The season hadn't even started yet.
Yeah. Well, and you know, it what it lends itself to is the dominance that the Thunder has had over every other squad throughout this window that they have with, you know, what in essence people believe is the best roster, best team in the NBA. They're still a favor to win the title, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
You know, and Vegas isn't really hip on making, you know, odds that don't pay out. So it's gonna be interesting tonight. I'll say this. If De'Aaron Fox comes back, which they definitely need him to, it lends itself to my theory, and I don't remember if I clarified it completely on Saturday night, but to me, they just wanted to get one in OKC.
Well,
And
yeah, and they did.
felt that confident about their ability to win at home. And plus, De'Aaron Fox missing the first two games gave him an extended rest because they did close out Minnesota in what, 6?
Yes.
Yeah. So a little bit early, but not anything, you know, too crazy. But what, a full, let's see, they closed out Minnesota on a Sunday, started again a week off for Fox, right?
Yeah. Well, he got hurt in that last game.
Yeah. But I mean, that was on a Sunday. Wait. No, it was a Sunday before the start of the series. Right?
Yeah. So they started the series on Wednesday? Monday. No, it was Friday because they had. Oh no, maybe it was Thursday. Chuck, why you do this?
Well, it was a
Hang
quick
on.
turnaround because
Yeah, it was pretty
quick
decently
turnaround.
quick.
So getting my days goosed up. So they close out Minnesota, I guess, on a Saturday. No, they closed
It
out
was the
Minnesota on
15th.
that was Friday. Okay. So a week ago. They closed out Minnesota. Had they gone to game 7, they would have had to play Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And game 1 would have began Wednesday. Instead, it
Right.
started Monday. So a little bit of time off for Fox, but I truly believe that they intended for him to get rest and get healthy and see what they could do, particularly with Dylan Harper, you know, doing some of the things he did. And I'll just say this. I don't know. Turnovers have been the story for the Spurs in this series in the first 2 games. That it only goes to overtime in game 1 because of the turnovers and the Thunder's points off turnover.
Mm-hmm.
The Thunder kind of doubled down on that, you know, especially once Harper went out with injury. Stephon Castle is a turnover machine. He made a spectacular dunk, but you know,
Then
you
he
talk
didn't get
about
back on defense. They hit a corner 3.
exactly. And so, you know,
but we only talk about the dunk.
You only talk about the dunk, and that's the national media narrative. But either way, you know, and I love Stephon Castle. I think
he's a stud,
outstanding player, and he's really as much credit as Wemby gets for where the Spurs are. He's right there along with it. If they don't pick him up, you know, Wemby doesn't have the talent around him. You know, I don't think to do the things he's doing. Champagne shot terrible. Vassell did not. Vassell was on fire from outside. But then if you look at the stats, Jeremy, from game 1 to game 2, the Spurs completely dominated points in the paint and rebounds in that game 1. It took them double overtime to win.
And you know the crazy thing about that game 1? It only goes to 2 OTs because AJ Mitchell fires up a 3-pointer with 21 seconds left on the shot clock.
that was pretty outrageous. And
I
then
mean, they could have
also
just dribbled around, got fouled, get the
also
free throw line.
a gimme that J-Dub had there late, I think could have given them the lead. And some calls, every game's gonna have some calls, but I don't know. I like the Spurs. I like what they're able to do. I think when they really get clicking, and they may do that tonight, Thunder, not the most tremendous team in game threes over this course, but they have really hung in there with I don't want to say a younger team, but just a tad bit younger, but then also dealing with the size and impact that Wemby has. But they cannot expect that it'll be called the same tonight, because they were able to get physical, regardless of what you want to say about missed foul or anything like that. It was a physical game inside with Wembanyama and Isaiah Hartenstein. I'll go this far. I heard the rather rotund sports talk talking head yesterday really taking Hartenstein to task about being dirty.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
And what Charles Barkley say? Man, I've been kissed harder than that.
I think a lot of these old guys, even Boogie Cousins, I think, has chimed in.
Yeah, they're all these big guys are chiming in. It's like, man, that's just playoff basketball.
But having said that, for the Thunder to pull one off at Frost Bank Arena, they've got to get better play from Chet Holmgren, and especially if J-Dub's not going to be available.
He showed signs in that last game of turning the corner, getting his feet back under him.
I thought he played good defense. I mean,
he played good defense,
decent defense.
He had a couple big plays late to seal it. Yeah, he's just feeling his way out, which he shouldn't be doing. He should just be aggressive and, challenge Wemby, get him in foul trouble.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like he has much interest in that.
Dan Patrick with a retro clip of Alex Caruso being interviewed at a golf tournament last July. So,
and what about, the story of this series so far has been the Caruso.
Yeah. Yeah.
30 in game one, had a big night 2 nights ago. He's just been saving it all up for the playoffs, because he was taxiing in and out of the lineup all season.
So I'm not seeing AJ Mitchell on the injury report.
No, he has stated he is playing.
So he is good to go. J-Dub, game time decision. De'Aaron Fox and Dylan Harper both listed as game time decisions. The thing about De'Aaron Fox is, when he got hurt in that Minnesota game, did you notice the splints he had on both ankles?
Mm-mm.
He plays in what looks like just splints on
the air cast.
Well, just you could see 2 pieces of plastic sticking out of the top of the shoe on both sides. I'm air cast splint, whatever you want to call it. So obviously bad ankles, but even at that, you may play. The effectiveness you have on 2 bum ankles is hard to speak. And I'll say this, even at that, with your starting point guard back, and he is a dynamic point guard. I've loved the pickup for the Spurs. He's got to watch out for those turnovers that have plagued, because it's not just that Stephon Castle is a bad guard or that Dylan Harper is a bad guard. It's the pressure that the Thunder put on teams, and also the way they play passing lanes. It's just,
and they have 6 guys they can run at you at the wing that are all really good defenders.
Want to get tired. A couple of questions for you here on the heels of the first 2 games. What's been the contention in your mind as why Aaron Wiggins has gotten significant minutes over Isaiah Joe?
Well, Joe played the other night. And he's not playing well. He had some personal thing happen during the Lakers series. I don't know if that's affecting him. It's not. And McCain has really sucked up those minutes.
Yeah.
McCain's played well. McCain plays both ends of the floor. McCain was a great pickup.
It's an amazing pickup.
Yeah. Thank you, Daryl Morey, for sacrificing your job to give us another piece. Philly had their fill of him, and
And what's funny is I think in that series against the Knicks, man, you got a lot of Philly fans on social media just blasting the McCain trade, saying,
They're
we need
angry.
what
How
could
do you
this
give up on a first rounder after he has a really good season last year, slow start this year, pull the plug?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
After game one, speaking of pulling the plug, there was talk, and I think it was fostered by a lot of national heads that want to, begin dialogue or clickbait, whatever, about, if the Thunder lose this series, would they trade Chet and another player to the Bucks and a bunch of picks for Giannis? Then you win game two and all of that subsides.
That's so short-sighted. Listen, they need to find a hometown buffet and roll a gym in there, and that's where you live now, Chet.
Well, that was the thing when they showed the comparison between he and Wemby. And I'll say this, they list Wemby at 7'4".
He's taller than that.
He's 7'8". I mean,
he's only 7'4" because the stigma of guys over 7'4" breaking down with foot injuries is so great that they're trying to head that off.
Well, he's listed at 7'4" and 240. While Chet is listed at 7'1", and I think 213. And that extra 25 pounds of mass, I guess you could say, to me has showed a bit of difference. I also, talking about the height, it's just obvious with his reach and things like that he's not just Ralph Sampson was 7'4", and he didn't tower over David Robinson and those guys.
Wemby is he is the true definition of a unicorn.
Oh, yeah.
They called Porzingis a unicorn. This guy being that tall, being able to play down low, being able to shoot the three, handle the ball in the mid-range, defend. I'm sorry. How hard is you're 8 feet, you're essentially 8 feet tall. Yeah, you can defend. Just put your hand in the air. That's
and then also, just the spring he has to be blocking baseline jumpers from 14 feet out. And, and I haven't noticed too much in the way of what looks like obvious goaltending this series. I know there's people that contend that, but he's a true unicorn. And if they are going to get past this series, I think they have to have those 30 and 40 point outputs from him, because look at the defensive effort that they put against him in game two. Cut his points in half, and
he still had 14 rebounds.
Still had 14 rebounds, but I don't know. It's an interesting series. I would say probably I'm going to say the Thunder probably do steal one from San Antonio on the road, but I don't think it'll be tonight.
Well, you have to get one. You have to get one. Now the Thunder have documented struggles in game threes. That was last season. They've been pretty daggum good in game threes this year.
Well, yeah, it was really the only struggle bust that I remember in their 8-game win streak in the first two rounds was game 4 against the Lakers. That's the only one that seemed like it was one you kind of wondered, and they did what they do. They pull it out at the end. I don't know. Game 1, you could attribute to the rust, I believe. You could say that, the Spurs were coming in a little more in sync because of the series going a little longer with the Timberwolves. It didn't seem like it went that much longer.
It was 6 games.
Week,
it was a week long. OKC had over a week off, so that's a lot of rust. And you're trying to work J-Dub back into the lineup. Guys' minutes are altered. Shea's playing a different rotation schedule. But I'm telling you, the biggest thing OKC needs to do in this series is keep one of their main scorers on the floor in non-Wemby minutes. They're outscored. They're minus 19 in Wemby minutes. They're plus 17 when Wemby's off the floor. But OKC can keep the score when Wemby's off the floor. Keep Shea on the floor. If Dub's healthy, AJ Mitchell can find it. McCain, keep those guys on the floor and get in the paint, then they will have they'll have a lot easier time. You gotta take advantage when he's not on the floor.
Yeah. But
And
I mean,
also Chet's got to get in the daggum paint and
yeah.
get him fouling.
Yeah, they do need to take the game to him. I've been impressed with Cornette in the minutes that he has received most of the time. I mean, I think he's one of those guys who he's not going to outshine.
Solid, Chuck. He's a good player.
He's a good player. I mean, you could take him, I think, and interchange him with Hartenstein a bit, and Thunder wouldn't lose a big step. I don't think. I mean,
Yeah,
he may not have
he's got to be physical. Like he was, I mean, he's physical in the framework of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're down low, there's going to be bodies banging. I'll be interested to see how it's called tonight.
It's going to be tighter. You have to figure it's going to be tighter, right?
Yeah, but man, then you're getting into like 3.5, 4 hour ball game because we're going to have so many stoppages.
Well, they're not going to call
it could be unwatchable
for pulling Castle's dreadlocks. So, I mean, you got that.
Well, Wemby diving into SGA's ankles. Potato.
Yeah. Thunder outshot the Spurs outshot the Thunder in game 2. They made 16 threes, but Jeremy, and I'm sure there's an analytical, site or something that breaks it down. But those 3-pointers, to me, 3-pointers made when you're trying to erase a 7 to 9 point deficit don't hit as much as when you could shoot a lesser percentage, but you've got a lead and then somebody hits a corner three. It's just a dagger.
Yeah. It doesn't, the 3-point disparity is completely neutralized by 21 turnovers.
Yeah. And
when
points off
turnovers, only turning the ball over 10 times.
Yeah. 27 points off those turnovers in game 2. And like I said, in game 1, if the Spurs just cut those turnovers in half, let's see what it was. It was 23-15. If they just trim 5 of those off, I mean, the points off turnovers for the Thunder was 28.
Yeah.
I mean, that is huge. That's not a game if they don't turn the ball over. But
that's a lot of point made.
Is they did. And it's 2 games that they've shown that they're going to turn it over. So unless De'Aaron Fox comes out and is 100%, I would be very surprised if that trend doesn't continue. But, coaches coach and teams game plan, and they try to figure things out as to why. I've been a little late. Some of the turnovers late by the Thunder have been a little bit concerning, I would think, for Thunder fans.
They had that problem last year in the finals against Indiana. When they get pressure late, they seem to get a little panicked, and I don't understand that. You've won at this level. Clean that up, please. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But the De'Aaron Fox thing, it gives me pause to think he's going to be really effective just because we've seen guys with this high ankle sprain. We've seen guys whose game isn't predicated on quickness and lateral movement have surgery for a high ankle sprain. Think Tua Tagovailoa before the national championship game. It's as someone who has had a high ankle sprain, I'll tell you, man, it sucks. It sucks. You have nothing laterally. Nothing.
All of my high school and collegiate intramural ankle injuries were right around the ligament.
That's a lot more tenable.
Yeah, it is.
That high ankle sprain, man, it feels like you plant that thing to cut, and there's just nothing there.
Probably the worst I ever had, and that's after 4 years of high school basketball, coming down on somebody else's foot, whatever the case. But playing indoor soccer at the old Chico's on Reno down in Oklahoma City, that AstroTurf they had, I planted my foot to try to block a shot or something, and my body weight kept going, my foot was like an L.
You got torqued.
Yeah, I got.
Man, that old AstroTurf, it has claimed the integrity of so many knees and ankles.
Well, and then a former OCU soccer player on the same play, plants one right in my solar plexus. Just hellacious. a shot.
Fish out of water on the ground for a while.
Exactly. We are the Weekend Big Show, powered by Law Dog Sports. He's Jeremy Schroeder, ruler of the airways. I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog, and we want your comments. If you're watching and you want to jump into the fray, give us a comment. I see that Connard Carr is watching. We haven't heard from Connard. Maybe he had to check out. Also, Jacob Silman out in Western Oklahoma checking in. Jacob has been very interesting on the social media. He's he found a funny video of a kid practicing his SGA flops and posted it
Oh my gosh.
on the Facebook page. So it was pretty fun. Are the flops getting just out of control on every side?
You know, yes, but acceptance is the path to freedom. You know, we've let these Euros in, and they brought their soccer flop in with them, and now it's as ingrained in the game as the mid-range jumper, the pick and roll.
Yes, it is.
It's just in there. It's like a tick, and it's festering.
Yeah.
And now, Chuck on the IR for intramurals is a story we want to hear. Hey, Connor, don't think I haven't noticed that Chuck is wearing the Abner Oklahoma City 89er shirt, retro, and it's Under Armour. So double old man points.
I went specifically to Kohl's. So think about that decision, and picked up this. No, actually, this might be an Academy hat. I'm trying to remember.
You run into Kirko Chains and Mendoza over there?
Yeah. They were shopping for
khakis.
What a tandem that will be. Connor checking in on the comment line. Be sure and give us your comment as well. Let's go ahead and get us a sponsor on here, Jeremy. And today it is going to be A+ Roofing and Construction. Rain or shine, they'll be there. Locally owned and operated by Damon Schultz, a friend of the program and a friend of mine. And I tell you, you talk about honesty and integrity in a business that is situated to set people up to be exploited. You need to call Damon Schultz at A+ Roofing and Construction, because Damon will tell you whether or not you truly need a new roof or not. And to me, that's as big a thing as anything, because we've been lucky so far, knock on wood. The hailstorms have not been too prevalent in where we've landed now and where we came from. But that could change on a dime. And I remember the year that we moved from Norman to Western Oklahoma, I replaced 2 roofs down there that year. And I can't tell you how many dudes came by door to door, just because once there's a hailstorm goes to the neighborhood, they flock there. So
it's predatory.
Save yourself some time. If you got some damage or something you want taken care of, call A+ Roofing and Construction. You get that sign in your yard that they're working on it. It'll be a lot of relief for you. And Damon Schultz is a great guy. All right. So comment on the line. Also, Connor Carr. He's dressed like he's got an 8-year-old travel ball team. He's got
Where's his pit viper, son? Chuck, where are your pit vipers?
And you talk. I'm going to say this. Coming from a time where, in essence, I was given a pair of blue jeans, a T-shirt, and a glove, and a ball cap to go play Little League. The money invested on shades for these kids, high school all the way down to Little League. My gosh. I mean, is it any wonder that we're, in a trade deficit? I mean, your 8-year-old does not need, what was you call them, pit vipers or
Pit
whatever?
vipers.
Is that like the latest?
I think so. Those ridiculous looking things. Yes.
I would just refer to Oakley's, but
sure,
maybe that's the same thing. But
standard.
I mean, it's shocking how many kids you see playing in a Little League game or a junior high game wearing those high end shades. And I just think of my own plight, where as an adult, I've been unable to keep a pair of shades more than 3 weeks. I can only imagine a 9-year-old.
Yeah, they end up in the bag, then you can't see out of them. They don't need them. And you got,
Right.
I was watching the not top 10 and saw the first baseman for the Guardians lose a pop up in the sun. Sunglasses are on the hat, where they should be, because it's
Is that kinda
swaggier
like
that way.
is that kinda like the A&M guy that had the A&M fan that had his hat turned around backwards and was
Sun
using his hand to cover his
Yeah.
um, and I'm sure that's going on everywhere, not trying to single out Texas A&M and make Jacob Silman mad, I promise. But, I almost got decked inside an academy one time. Have I told you that story?
No.
Yeah. Connard says all that money just for them to suck. And this kind of leads into that story. So I'm at the Southside Academy there at 240 and Walker, and Milo Hamilton, the former voice of Houston Astros baseball, who I guess I need to find my Milo Hamilton card. I went down there it was when the Astros were the parent team to the Oklahoma City Redhawks, whatever they were at the time. And so I go down there, and Milo Hamilton's on the caravan tour. And I don't hotbox athletes, but I will hotbox broadcasters. So I go down there, meet him, get his autograph on a card. And I went ahead and bought something, maybe a Astros hat or something like that. And I'm standing in line, and there's a guy in front of me. And, kudos to him for being involved with his son. That's probably the kicker to it all, is that he is there with his son, who's probably 4, maybe 5. And the cashier rings up $350 to $400 worth of baseball equipment, practice stuff, swinging swing aids and tees and things like that. So he's laying out the bucket, and I wouldn't have said a word if he hadn't have turned around and looked at me and said, "Hell of a lot of money to be spending on a kid's game, huh?" Which just opened the door to my sarcasm. And my response to the man was, "Yeah, and just to think there's kids in the Dominican Republic playing with rocks and sticks that'll actually make the league." At first glance, I knew he was about to slug me. And it kind of sunk in on him that, this guy's right.
Yeah, he got a milk
he
carton
just
for
kinda
a glove, and
he just kinda turned around and went back to the register and cut that check for however much it was, $300, $400. But that was, I've had a few zingers in my life, and that was one of the ones. But anyways, Dan Narva checking back in. We are entertaining you. Are you not entertained? My kid used to love to emulate the Stars and style it going back to T-ball, for crying out loud, except he was kind of afraid of the ball. That's what right field is made for, Dano. And then Connard, does hotbox mean something else that I don't know about? Hotbox is that process of, you had to have seen it at the airport. A celebrity comes through and somebody makes a point to get up there and start a conversation.
I seem to remember Connard maybe hotboxing Cal Ripken Jr.
I'm sure, yeah. and I'll tell you this much: the only person I hotboxed was Merv Johnson, and he's a coach,
really did, Chuck.
Retired coach, but he would be out there sitting, and I just passed by him, said hello, and we started a conversation. And at the time, he's a widower, and at the time, Little Joe Washington was living with him during the week while he was on staff at OU, and the idea for a sitcom just came right in my head. You've got to figure out a way to get a film crew in there for Merv Johnson and Little Joe Washington living together.
See, I try to, I go out of my way not to talk to these guys when I see them. That was me, Connard. I was the super professional supervisor who left the desk to tell you about him, just because I knew you would be entranced with childlike wonder.
So see, you led him to the hot boxing. You're a hot box sister.
That's right. I let others do it.
Yeah. Sam Bradford used to fly in or fly out, load his own bags and everything, and I'd stand there at curbside and just kind of say, I'd always be courteous, but Broadcasters, I did hotbox at the airport. Tirico, Van Gundy. Probably if I'd have been able to spot Kevin Harlan in a crowd, maybe.
Oh, yes. Kevin Harlan would be on my list of people I would,
You know who gave me the biggest kind of F you, get out of my face, or I got nothing to say to you? Sage Steele.
Really?
In the one of the conference finals there in my time at the Willie. She was sitting there and she passed by, and I was at my counter and I said, "Hello, ma'am, how are you?" And just kind of looked at me like, "Who the hell do you think you are?" And walked off.
Wow.
Like, okay. Barry Switzer never talked to me out at the airport.
Oh, hell.
Even in passing.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't going to go up and talk to him in uniform,
Well, why not?
Well, because
Got
1988.
a load of 38 in that shaving kit today, King.
Did you not read the Sports Illustrated issue? But the King is still alive and well and out and about. All right, so tonight, who you got, Spurs or Thunder?
Ooh, I think OKC is going to carry over that momentum from game 2. Some of the things that we're doing, they're going to come out on top. It's going to be tight, though.
Yeah,
it's going to be tight. All these games are going to be tight, Chuck. There's not going to be a game in this series where one team's going to have a decided advantage. And if the ball handlers from San Antonio are not playing or even limited, more so.
Well, and that's the thing about, when you look back at results, you say, oh my gosh, they lost by double digits, double overtime or whatever.
It was double overtime. Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't a dominant game. OKC came out flat in the first quarter and a half and then really got their stuff together. And I mean, like we talked about earlier, some poor decisions with the basketball in overtime. OKC should have been able to pull that game out, but you can't. I'm sorry, AJ Mitchell. I know you're a young player.
You got to take that risk and see what opens up.
Yeah,
you don't need that. I mean, if the corner 3 goes down, it's huge. But
if you get to the line and it's a 4-point game, you probably win that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably do. And that's where a little bit of not hard to say that the Thunder has inexperience, but that's probably a little bit of it there. And then also you got SGA, browbeating Jared McCain for talking to him while he's shooting. Told him
he's gonna learn. He's gonna learn.
I'll take the Spurs tonight, and I'll probably will look into game 4 and see. But typically, I would think that would kind of favor the Thunder. But I don't see the Thunder coming back to Oklahoma City down 3-1. I would be surprised.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Really?
Just yeah, man. The Spurs they're good.
So then you gotta hold home and then steal one.
You got to steal one on the road. But I said 6, so they're getting one of these.
Okay. Yeah, I would think so. All right. I would say, I think we said this already. I would say probably the Knicks close out the Cavs, on the road. The way they're playing, I don't see. The last time the Knicks looked human was against CJ McCollum and the Hawks.
I know.
Think about that. Down 2-1 and then go on this run. Mock draft out. The draft coming up just right after the finals. Kevin O'Connor from Yahoo Sports has the Thunder going ahead and selecting Michigan center 7'3" Ade Mara. They're going to want to get another. I mean, they've had a center who's out this season.
Thomas Sorber.
Yeah, but they're going to try to get another one, aren't they?
Yeah, I think it would behoove them because I don't know that they're going to be able to afford Hartenstein after this deal expires. So you're going to have to you got to stay big in the middle. That's the way the league's going. We're seeing the return of defensive centers.
Yeah. All right. Real quick, Jeremiah Fears, former OU guard, makes second team all rookie. Dylan Harper, Con Knipple, Cooper Flagg, and I think the kid from Philly, Edgecombe. I think those were the first teamers.
The white delegation was well represented.
Perfect timing, bud. Perfect timing. Anyways, So quick transition, and we covered about everything we could cover on the Thunder in 50 minutes. OU softball starts super regionals today. Mississippi State at Love's Field, best 2 out of 3. And then OSU is on the road at Lincoln to take on Geordie Ball and the Nebraska Lady Cornhuskers. We mentioned that the Cubs start a series against Houston. And then rest in peace to NASCAR driver Kyle Busch.
That was crazy.
Suddenly. And, I hate to ever sound conspiracy minded, but I just think there's something that's gone on in the last 5-6 years that makes people susceptible to, unexpected fatalities.
What would that be? Do we need
do
to check that booster card?
I'll just say this. I mean, the vaccine has affected our family's health in a detrimental way, I believe. Now, you can never prove it, but I'll believe it. But hopefully, no telling what it was. And here's the thing: as men, and I don't try to speak on women's health, but as men, you got to start getting things checked out quicker and sooner, because things
Get
will
that heart scan.
Heart scan, that's a huge one, and I'm overdue to get one. And
Connor, go get a colonoscopy.
Yeah, 50 is the age for colonoscopies.
They're saying in the 40s now.
50 was initially the age they said for women in their mammography or their mammogram. But now everything's moving up, and I, as a man in his 40s, if it were me, I would probably talk to my doctor.
Yeah, when I got shingles, my mother's like, "But you're so young." It's like, "Mom, I'm 50. This is when you're supposed to start getting crap like this."
I got that. That was one vaccination, because I'll deal with COVID, but shingles I didn't want to deal with. Anyway,
it was so fun.
Brendan Storesby, the Texas Tech signee, is got a court date June 1st. They've already had a judge, Philip Hayes, a Tech grad, recuse himself from the case. Now Ken Curry will hear it. Jeremy, here's the thing: they've acknowledged that Storesby has a serious gambling addiction. He's been documented as betting on Turkish basketball, Romanian soccer games,
Korean baseball,
any of it, I think the red line that I read in the article is that, he did bet on Indiana football while he was a member of that team. Regardless of, if you take the Pete Rose rule, regardless of whether you bet on Indiana to win or not, obviously protecting the integrity of the game is of key importance, while that's being sponsored by DraftKings. But the contention of his case, Jeremy, is the hypocrisy that the NCAA employs with regards to their promotion of gambling. And the article I read said, he's from Corinth, Texas, went to Lake Dallas High School. So he's an I-35 kid in high school, heading up to WinStar and getting his gamble on. And that's where I see the problem in this world. We've talked about it, Jeremy. And I'm probably going to make some people mad at this if anybody's listening that knows, but a certain high school that I know of had an after prom party, which consisted of setting up a casino for no money, is for entertainment purposes only, setting up a casino inside their cafeteria for kids to come after party. All fine and swell. And I understand you're going to plan something. You got to have something to attract the kids, something for them to do. But I just I'm so taken aback. Maybe my aversion to gambling that you would kind of set that up for kids to get a sample of that, when it is becoming a prevalent problem in our society.
It truly is. I mean, gambling is more prevalent now than alcoholism among the younger people, which that's wild. So we're trading vices. We're at that point. Oh my gosh, Connor had shingles. They wouldn't let me get the vaccination because I'm not old enough. Yeah, but Connor, where did you have the shingles? I would
figure out what you got to do once you turn 40 or 50 to never have it again. So
anyways, man, a judge in Lubbock that is a Tech grad recusing himself from the case is a massive red flag.
yeah, and
I mean, this is not an eligibility issue. I mean, it is an eligibility issue, but this is not a petitioning for another year of eligibility because you've run out. No, this is it's serious stuff.
Mhm.
And if a judge in Lubbock who's a Tech grad does not want to touch it, I do not see this going well for Sorsby. And I don't know what that's gonna. He's not gonna play college football again. I'll just say that right now.
I can't imagine.
I can't imagine him being allowed to play college football again. Now, is the NFL going to touch him?
Well, he can go in the supplemental draft, and I think that's in June. So they've got to and that's another one of his contentions is that the NCAA didn't really get the timeline going for him to, for it to be conducive for him to get a decision in time.
They're not in a hurry to do anything. They put Heineke off until the draft was over.
Yeah. And therein lies my question is, should local judges in any case, and granted, I think the Corey Heineke, the Owen Heineke case has more merit than most. 15 minutes playing time of rugby at a lacrosse, whatever. To me that has a lot more merit, but you can use the argument that, oh, well, it's a judge in Norman, Oklahoma. What else is he going to do but grant it? And then how much weight should that carry?
Yeah, I know. And when they filed their appeal, apparently the NCAA filed the wrong paperwork.
Well, yeah.
So I mean, what's the NCAA doing? I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't know. And it's just one of those situations, Jeremy, where you're going to see just more and more case law. And that's the problem with sports nowadays is you run into case law. And I always used to say this as an investigator, you never want your name attached to anything with the word doctrine in it.
Ramsey doctrine.
Never want to phrase the Ramsey doctrine being used. That's never, ever, ever good. But Brendan Sorsby, they knew about the investigation when he decided to go to rehab. Do they mess with rehab if they don't let him know about the investigation? I doubt it, because a lot of times, and there are people that go to rehab because it's their final straw. There's a lot of people that go to rehab also to try to save their bacon professionally. And that's that in police work,
So
that
in the PGA Tour.
Oh, yeah.
Tiger Woods.
Yeah. So rehab and things like that. It if it helps, great. But I don't know. To me, they're probably going to find, they probably have the red line as they mentioned earlier, to be able to keep him from playing collegiately again. And
I don't think he's going to play again, Chuck. I just don't.
Imagine, and so then what does Tech do? They've got to get the Hammond kid healthy quickly.
He's a good player. What I saw him last year, I mean, he's at least as good as Baron Morton. Morton was very serviceable, just not in the playoff.
No.
Sark said it best. Texas could roll out their second and third teams and go undefeated against their weak ass schedule.
And you can read my mind.
Terrible, Chuck. Have you looked at their schedule?
Oh, it's awful. Yeah,
it's brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, I half expected to get, into that third non-con game and see For the Blind and Deaf after the school name. It is so bad. I mean, they should be able to go undefeated and not be in the playoff just because that schedule is trash.
It's bad. It is bad.
It is terrible.
And Tech's Tech's kind of reeling right now. Their baseball fell off a cliff, and then softball's on the road and they're super regional. So it's kind of hard sledding right now.
I cannot get over that schedule. I cannot
Well,
get over that schedule.
Cody Campbell took Sark to task and said, we'll play you anytime. So
I don't think he really means that.
no.
I mean,
And
Tech could be able to compete, but you don't have a quarterback, Corey.
but I did see a tweet from is it Ari Wasserman? I think
Yeah.
on 3 said he feels like with Sark, popping off as much this year, they must have a really good squad down there in Austin, which, how do they not?
Yeah, right.
Did you happen to
listen?
see
Listen. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Oh no, Abilene Christian,
Yeah.
the opener. Oregon State, 10 years ago. That's a decent non-con. In the year of our Lord 2026,
No, that's
might as well just play Abilene Christian again.
That's an FCS game in essence.
Houston will be good or better.
Yeah.
Sam Houston. Colorado
Texas played them last year.
Huh?
Texas played Sam Houston last year.
Yeah, they also played an SEC schedule, and they also played Ohio State.
Well, you're getting into ticky-tacky stuff.
Cincinnati, Arizona, West Virginia, Oklahoma State.
Is that OSU game on the road?
That's in Stillwater.
Okay.
Baylor and Texas Christian.
Well, regardless of what their quarterback situation is, Jeremy, they could be looking at a lot tougher Big 12 slate this year. I mean,
yes,
some teams have improved.
They have improved, but that out of conference is unforgivable.
It's awful.
I mean, you got to get a Power 5 team in there.
Oh, and after so much hype last year off of the game day, in the game between them and was it BYU that came there for game day?
Yes.
Yeah, that game, and they showed out and played, and the fans showed out. I mean, you do have to give. You got to give something. Like you said, Abilene Christian. I don't know. I mean,
you got three payday games.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
I ran into a kid Wednesday night at the Western Oklahoma Baseball Coaches Association All-Star game who was an all-state running back, great wrestler, baseball player, Ritson Meyer from the Elgin Owls. And I was down on the field after the large school game, and he had just finished pitching. Looks like he can uncork some cheese from the pitching. But he was a running back for the Owls in their state championship game in 2025. He carried the ball 42 times and had 179 yards against Tuttle. Then last year they lost to Tuttle. It was a closer one, but he carried the ball a ton. I always said he ran the ball like a street fight against us at Weatherford. He's going to Abilene Christian, and I think they're going to let him. He wanted to play baseball and football, I think, but I'm not sure. But anyways, so he's going to Abilene Christian. No, he wanted to play both ways. I think Abilene Christian will look at letting him. But I went up to him afterwards, and the only reason I bring this up is because he is going to Abilene Christian, and they're playing. You brought up that they're playing Texas Tech. I went up to him. I said, "You Meyer?" He goes, "Yes, sir." And I said, "Never seen a player so happy to graduate." So really glad 3 seasons of running it down our throat. I'm glad to see you head off to college. So him and his dad got a kick out of that. But anyways, but yeah, Tech will we'll see what happens on this hearing with Brendan Sorsby. It's a sordid Sorsby affair. Did you like that?
Wow.
Hopefully the kid gets help, because if he is a true gambling addict, then he lets that dictate the rest of his life.
If he's betting on Turkish professional basketball, he's got an issue.
Hey, back in the 90s, I had a friend, and and we would kind of talk odds and stuff. I've never been somebody who had a bookie's number or, but sitting next to each other in a coffee shop. Yeah, I'll pick North Carolina State, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Just basically talking smack. And I had a friend who had the internet and before me, and he found a betting site, and he was betting June and July baseball odds. At the time, I thought, wow, dude, and he laid off of it, but it was like, that's going a little far, because how can you figure out a way to win in that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
just so random.
So Sarkisian firing shots at Texas Tech, mentioned that they would have made the playoffs with Tech's schedule and could beat their. Did he say they could beat Tech or could beat their schedule?
Beat their schedule.
Beat their schedule with their 2s and 3s. As far as non-con, he's right, but you know how social media and quotes can be misread. On top of Sarkisian, it seems like him and Lane Kiffin, former Pete Carroll proteges, are just really hep on making themselves quotable and in the college football landscape news in this offseason. You had both of them bashing Miss Ole Miss, and then one Sark bashing Ole Miss for academics, and then Lane Kiffin bashing Ole Miss for racism.
Hey Lane, this is Sark.
This is every day. And so the band is nearly back together, Jeremy.
I'm telling you.
Did you see who LSU added to their coaching staff this week?
Well, I think I'm gonna see something.
A little bit of Cajun French.
We're
We're gonna win and get a football game. So when I retweeted the video of Coach Ed Orgeron visiting with a French Cajun gentleman and speaking French. Apparently, there's a difference in French Cajun and just French. The first thing that came to my mind was "Homo, where you maggot." Okay, so you like to see homos naked? Okay. Connor asked us if we were disrespecting Prime back during our Big 12 talk. Yes, totally. They have nothing at Colorado. They won't contend for anything this season.
I think they'll be better this year just because they're going to be more experienced at quarterback. But I don't know.
Who do they got at quarterback? Is it still that same kid?
Yeah, Sark does need to remember he's the king of laying goose eggs when it's just completely unwarranted.
He coaches tight in the big ones.
He does coach tight in the big ones.
He
and if he has a quarterback that plays tight in the big ones, a la Quinn Ewers,
yeah,
it's a recipe for disaster.
He's got the next coming at under center, so you got to beat the Horns some other fashion. But anyway, Ed Orgeron back on staff, back in college football after his interviews during this offseason about how much money they paid players at USC. Now it's all legal, and I just don't understand. LSU fans are insane and really not tremendously bright. But I mean, the win at all costs thing with Kiffin, and I can't see myself in any form or fashion being an OU supporter and signing off on the 3 hires that they have. I don't care what the record is. But the 3 hires they have in the major sports, football, men's and women's basketball, I want
Kim Mulkey?
Yeah. I mean, she's just a circus. And then you throw in Will Wade, who's basically going to, stock up the Bayou Bengals with, former G League players. Well, guys who have played on NBA courts.
Sure.
It's unprecedented. How
Chuck,
do we?
You know what? As far as that goes, make the NCAA hand down a decision. Until they do, screw it.
Yeah,
let's make this as ridiculous as we possibly can.
Yeah, it's totally the Wild West. I don't know.
I don't either.
Let me see if I can figure out how to end this poll. Let's go ahead and stop it here. See what we come up with some results. Don't know if anybody voted. Anyways, so Will Wade, just 3 big signings, and they're all big guys. They're all European big dudes, I think.
Yeah.
And he's gonna get long in the SEC, but what a terrible hire. I mean, he'll probably win, but he's just a terrible hire, right?
I think so. Listen, man, the governor of Louisiana, what he did last year when he took control of the LSU athletics department, fired Brian Kelly, didn't even fire him, right? And then turned over all that money to the program from the state tax coffers to hire Kiffin, up the NIL budget. It's the whole it stinks. It stinks of corruption at the highest levels in that government, all for football. And you can't tell me that LSU football is not printing money.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, where does the state of Louisiana come up with any money?
Well, exactly. It's not exactly
Oh, I forgot Raising Cane's.
Raising Cane's.
Every time you get that crappy sauce they put in.
How many? How much of every hurricane at Pat O'Brien's is going towards NIL?
Every one of it. Connor Carr says Kiffin is the one with the moral compass for the big sports at LSU. Who knew that was possible? Well, of course, that's coming from the same guy who sent us the tweet about the Plan B and the
yeah, Kiffin's a saint, Connor.
yeah. But it's just so icky. I mean, I think of Louisiana, the heat and humidity is just being kind of a sticky, icky place. And
if you've ever met LSU fans, and I know you have, Connor, they are the
absolute worst.
They are the worst.
Yep. Let's see. Dan Narva says if ever there was that was me.
Oh, okay.
If ever there was a cause for a No Kings rally, it would be in Louisiana. Yeah, that could be a case as well.
If that would have happened in another state, that governor would have been impeached.
Yeah.
Not Louisiana.
Of course, the Oklahoma governor's, basically in essence doing away with public television. So, I totally credit a majority of my good instincts to Mr. Rogers. And I say that in all sincerity with no humor involved. Moral compass you talk about, well, you learn how to treat people through Mr. Rogers. I don't know what they have now for kids, but OETA, there's a lot of things I watch on OETA, so I hope it doesn't go away.
Still watch what Great Space Coaster?
Frontline.
Frontline.
Sure we'll lose some Trump viewers from that. Connor says they can't spell LSU. So Will Wade, just an awful human being for sure. And he will wreck that program, and it'll be a nightmare. So, well, we need to start looking at getting out of here. Anything else you have here on this Memorial Day weekend?
I don't think so.
Are you working Sunday?
It's going to rain. Yeah, I'm working Sunday.
Yeah, rain involved. I know they're playing something down at Byron Nelson, but I'm not exactly sure. I haven't really kept up with that. Did you take anything away from the PGA?
Tough course. I guess Rye won it, and all of our favorites did nothing. So
yeah, they I don't know. It was hard for me to get into anything last week, and I don't know why. I mean, I was really hooked on the Masters. I think when I saw some of those greens on day 4, I was maybe a little bit appalled. I don't know.
A little dry, huh? A little dry. A little dry.
Anyways, right now at the Byron Nelson, let's see what we got here. Looks like
what we got.
Let me get this name right. Taylor Moore in the lead at the Byron Nelson, 1 under through 7. I'm not sure what his total score is. And then Kensei Hirata from Japan in second. Brooks Koepka tied for 4th. He hasn't teed off yet. So, anyways,
lurking.
Yeah, the CJ Cup Byron Nelson at TPC Craig Ranch, Texas. So,
well, we've got, you got your low scores at 10 under. So we are back to target golf.
Get it going, boys.
Soft greens.
Have you checked up on any of the stories that have come out about the Live Tour and all their
folding? that it's going to fold, and we're wondering if these guys that left the PGA for Live are going to be welcomed back with open arms.
Well, can they break away is my question. I
I
mean,
don't.
even if the league folds, are there? I have to wonder if their contracts are still, really binding, or maybe there's a buyout. I want to say, who was it that they said either their losses or their buyout was in the 90 million range?
Let's see. They're going to pitch a new model to stay afloat. So I don't know what that's going to do. What are they going to do? Start wearing pants and play in 4 days?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's and here's the thing: wasn't there an incident at the they try to infuse Happy Gilmore into golf, and I just don't think you can do that, right?
Golf is golf. It's niche. People that love golf will watch golf. People
It's
that love
snooty,
golf
and I
aren't
don't
watching
care.
Live.
If it's snooty, I don't care. I want to wear nice shorts and a polo, one time in a month, and it's going to
Listen, golf courses are populated with alcoholics and degenerate gamblers. So
Oh,
let's
God.
not act like they're all holier than thou and snooty. And
Well,
we know what the real golf is.
if they would just do away with the guy that screams "get in the hole," I would be much happier.
But who's give me back my son?
I've abandoned my child. That is some classic stuff. All right. There was one other thing that I meant to write down and I didn't, and now I regret it immediately. Clark, Coach O. I'll share the video to our social media, but you go back to Coach O's days at Ole Miss, there's some guys that did a song about Coach Orgeron, and it is really comedy gold. I've held on to it now for what, 15 years. It truly is. It truly is. Coach O rips his shirt off again. All right. So, this weekend, we'll see what happens tonight. Game 3, Spurs and Thunder from Frost Bank Arena, and tune in to that one. That's another NBC matchup, I believe. And how bad is Reggie Miller on the call?
Oh, my gosh.
He really is terrible.
It's the only solace I have is I haven't been able to watch a single game since the playoffs started that I haven't had to deal with Doris Burks and Reggie Miller.
Yeah. Doris should be done by now, right? Because they're going to have Legler and Richard Jefferson on all of the ESPN Eastern
Conference games. NBC Peacock tonight, so
that's going to be. Is it Ian Eagle that's doing the play-by-play?
Okay, I can live with that.
Yeah, Ian Eagle. It's Jamal. I think it's going to be Jamal Crawford and Reggie Miller with Ian Eagle throughout the playoffs, if I'm correct.
Yeah, that'll be all right.
Unless, can we get Harlan somewhere?
I know, right? Apparently, he only does Amazon games, and I think Amazon's done for the playoffs.
That's what. To think Kevin Harlan had to work with Dwayne Wade. That was so bad.
I know. I don't know why we can't just bring these guys in. The best. I mean, Ian Eagle's fine, but Harlan's just he's the GOAT. He's so good.
Candace Parker was good.
Yeah.
I thought she did fine. I'm not just trying to say that to be politically correct. I thought she did well. But D. Wade was bad. Miller's, I don't know. He slid in my book, but we'll see what happens. And then who's got the finals? Is it ESPN?
I think so. I can check that real quick because let's see.
Game 3 tonight, Spurs versus Thunder. NBC throwing their hat in the ring last season kind of fouled things up for me, but I don't like change. All right. ESPN.
Yeah, ABC, ESPN. So there you go.
So that'll feel a little bit normal. I have not been a fan of Richard Jefferson either, and that's saying a lot because I was a big fan of him as a player. I don't know. You see that they misidentified Bernard King last night at the Knicks game?
No, I didn't see that.
It was Cedric the Entertainer.
Oh my God.
Oh Lord. And so did you I don't think we talked about this Saturday because I don't think I heard about it until this week. But the Pencil Neck show, they mentioned something to the effect that Caruso, clips of Caruso were out of him being on the JJ Redick podcast after the 2020 season where he was, I don't know if he signed with Chicago. I guess he free agent signed with the Bulls.
Uh-huh.
And he basically told JJ Redick and his podcast partner that the money didn't add up. You know, he wanted to get, he knew he should get more money. Felt like the Lakers lowballed him. And then, when you think about the evolution of that interview where they're basically blasting Rob Pelinka and Redick's on there for it. And then now Redick works for Pelinka. So that was pretty funny, I thought.
A little tension in the Lakers organization. It makes it more fun.
Would you ever thought that the future of your favorite franchise would lie in the hands of an A&M grad?
No, but I can live with it. It's better than a damn Longhorn.
That's true. That is very true. Imagine Jackson Hayes lining up in the post for the Thunder. So,
oh, I know.
Anyway, all right, let's start to make our way out of here. He is Jeremy Schroeder, ruler of the airways. I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog. This has been the Weekend Big Show. We sure appreciate you tuning in, and be sure and follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to our page, and would love to start getting an influx of subscribers to our YouTube page. And it's at Law Dog Sports on YouTube. Also follow us on Facebook and Twitter X at Law Dog Sports. We will be back next Friday. We will give you a heads up on the time. Poll didn't work out like I expected, Jeremy, and I don't know if just nobody voted or what the situation was, but maybe I can figure out in post-production, but we will get the video edited and put on the YouTube channel. Also, the link will be on the Facebook page because Facebook has been pretty good about deleting live broadcasts after about a month or so. So no offense to them for that, but if you want to see any episode that we've done on the Weekend Big Show, be sure and check out our YouTube page. They are all preserved there. And it's our little contribution to the world being taken over by data centers. So you got that going for us. Anything on that?
No, not
All
yet.
Right. Thanks to all the commenters, Dan Narva, Connor Carr, and I believe that it today. Yeah, that was it today. But thanks Connor and Dan for pitching in, and thanks to everybody for tuning in. This is the Weekend Big Show. We'll talk to you next week. Be safe out there. Don't text and drive, and sure don't drink and drive.